Normally, I like to animate the hips first because what you'll find is that um, with most animals or characters, they usually are driven by the hips. It's not all. So, like for example, if you look at like a fish or a snake, they're driven by the head. The head moves and then the body follows. But for humans, at least in this particular case, the hips lead the action, right? So think about if you're swinging a bat, it's the hips that move first and then the arms swing. Okay. But in our case, because the character is going to be walking, a lot of the hip position is actually going to be kind of determined by the legs themselves. So we're going to animate the legs first. But that being said, I can't really move them forward or backwards for that matter because it's already all the way extended. So we're going to take the hips and I'm just going to move them down because they don't lie. So we're just going to go like this and we'll go down, let's say about that much, right? Not enough to go to the bathroom, but enough to be thinking about it. All right. So we'll call that good. So we're just going to animate the legs first. One of the things that I noticed with this character in general, it's kind of annoying, is that he's got like, his legs are really out far. So I'm going to move those in first. So we'll do G and X. And I'm just going to move that in a little bit like that. I'm going to grab this one and G and X and move that one in just because they seem really far apart. Okay. So we're just going to take the one leg and we want it back and we want the other leg forward. So I'm going to do G and then Y. And I'm just going to move it back. And I want to go basically as far back as you can go until the knee snaps. So you'll see at some point the knee will snap where it becomes straight. So if you see, so you want to leave it a little bit bent. If you go too far, you end up with knee snapping and it looks pretty bad. It's a real obvious tell of like an amateur animator. So we're going to do G, Y, and we're going to go, and it's the same idea here. I don't want my knee to snap, okay? So we're going to go to roughly there. And they both have keys, which is great. So now what I want to do is I'm going to go to frame 12. So we are going to animate, it's 24 frames, right? But we're going to animate on beats, which means that our main keyframes, every step is going to be 12 frames, right? It's half a second marching time. So that's what we want to do. So first we're going to do our main extreme poses, and that is our contact poses here, basically when the legs hit the ground. That's what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to take this guy now, and we're just going to go ahead and I'm going to put this one where the other one is. So just push that one back. Take this one, G, Y, and put that forward. Great. Okay. And then we need 24 to be the same as 1. So I'm just going to grab these, Control C, go here, Control V. All right. Make sure you're in here. If I do Control V up here, you can see, because it's context sensitive. So it's based off of where it is. So I don't even have to go over there and select those. Maybe I will just in case. I don't have to bring the slider over. I can just Control C and Control V, and it's already there. And now if we hit spacebar, you're going to see, wow, look at that. It's like he's skiing, right? He's scuttling along. Okay, good. So that's the most basic pose, okay? Now, the next position to do is what we call the passing pose, and that's halfway between these poses, okay? So it'll be 6 and 18. And you probably already know what's the main problem with this so far is that his leg isn't coming up to come forward. So that's what we're going to perform next, okay? So we're going to go to frame, and this is actually going to be a couple of things. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here. We're going to go to 6. I'm going to grab this, okay? And then I'm going to do G and Z, and we're just going to move it up a little bit. You don't generally move your foot up that much. That's why when you're walking, you can stub your toe, or maybe when you're walking, you might notice you kick things on the ground. It's because you're trying to put as little energy as possible. So it's just going to be that up a little bit and down, okay? And then we just need to do the same thing for the other one. Select this one, go to frame 18, and again, G and Z, and I'm just going to go up a little bit. Now you might be like, that's not very convincing. So the other thing your leg does is you rotate up. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to use this to rotate our toe up. Okay, so we're going to go to here. Actually, let's go to 6 first. We'll just use this as a guide. And we'll do R, and I'm just going to rotate it up like so. Then we're going to go to frame 1, and I need to reset it back to 0. Now, I could try to rotate it. I could type in the numbers here, but the easiest way to do this is if you just hit Alt-R, resets it back to default, which is pretty handy. So we're going to like this. It rotates up. And then then we need it to rotate back down, right? At 12, it should be also Alt-R. We can do the same thing on this side. So go ahead and go to 18. We're going to rotate this up. Okay. Go to 12. We'll hit Alt-R. And we're also going to go 24, and we're going to hit Alt-R. So now you'll see when we hit spacebar, it's looking a little bit closer. It's not quite right, because one of the things that you might have noticed is that he's kind of landing, it's like he's sliding his foot in, right? So depending on the type of walk that we're doing, like if we were sneaking, you would lead with the toes. However, usually this foot will come up. Like you'll land on your heel first and then the next thing. So that's what we need to do next, and that is going to be achieved with this. So what we want to do is it's going to come up, and then at 12, I want this rotated. So we're going to R, and we're going to rotate it up like this, okay? So it's going to be like that. Now here, obviously, this should be flat, right? So we'll just hit Alt-R. That will set it down, okay? So it's going to go like this, and then his foot's going to go like that, and then we'll have it happen 2 frames afterwards. I'm going to have his foot come down pretty quick. We're going to hit Alt-R, right? So you can see like that. Now, I want to do the same thing basically on this side, but obviously it has to be offset, okay? So here, we're going to hit R, rotate that sucker up. We're going to go 2 frames afterwards, and then we're going to hit Alt-R, so it comes down. So he's going to go step, down. And then we also need to take this one, so I'm just going to make sure I only have these. We'll Control-C, Command-C, obviously, if you're on a PC. And I'm just going to, let me see, boom. Oh, wait, maybe we don't need to, I guess. Yeah, so we got a Command-C. Yeah, this has to be here. So we're going to do this and then Control-V. All right? And so now you'll see the feet sort of flop down. It's not too bad. So there's one other thing that I would also like to add to the legs here, and that is another feature that we have built into it, and that's the peel heel. Because right now he kind of lifts his foot up, but it kind of comes off. I'm looking at the back one here. When in actuality, the heel would peel. So I'm going to grab this. We're going to hit R, and we're going to go like that, right? So the heel would peel just before the step. Now what we're going to do is let's have it go, I would say, let's try 3 frames, and then we'll hit Alt-R. So it's going to go like this, and then it'll peel. And then what I want to do is we'll do 2 frames afterwards. Very rarely do you ever want to do 1 frame because it doesn't allow for any transition. It'll look like a pop. So we're going to go to here, and then I'm going to also hit Alt-R. So basically, it'll peel heel, and then it will blend to the other one. Okay. It's a little awkward, but that's what we're going to do. So it goes like this. The heel will peel, and then it'll come up. And we're just going to do the same thing here. I'm going to grab this one. We're going to hit R, rotate that sucker up. We'll go 2 frames beforehand, and we're going to hit Alt-R. I think that's what I did. I think I did 3 frames, didn't I, actually? Hang on. Let me look. Yeah, I had to do 3 frames. So we'll do is just go here. All I'm going to do is just grab these, and I'm just going to move them over. Boom. Okay, so now that has 3 frames. And then obviously this has to be the same on the other side. So we'll Control-C. And we're going to go here, and we will Control-V. And then it's going to be 2 frames. And we need to Alt-R, so it goes back like that. Okay, so now we have our peel heel, which is pretty okay. And just to kind of compensate from the transition to the peel, from the peel heel to the forward, I'm just going to go ahead and utilize this. So we have this here. I'm going to go 1, 2, and then what we're going to do is I am just going to push this up a little bit earlier. So that way, see how it's a better transition? Looks a little more natural. And I'm going to do the same thing here. So basically, when it goes from here to 2 frames afterwards, we're just going to go ahead and go a little bit more. So that way, it's just a little bit more fluid. Okay. And now we've got the legs going. So you can kind of see them over here. Looks semi-natural. You could definitely do a lot more with the legs, but that's a pretty good start, right? That should get you most of the way there. So we'll end this video, and then next we will do the hips.